And hi once again, guys, and welcome to Gary Reviews. With me is my dear buddy once again, Logan K. Hello.
Or Kirill.
Or
But
Kirill.
That's the new name.
Yeah.
So you're not going to do the introducing theme that you did off screen. Nice. Funky. Kind of sounds like a funky version of the show's theme.
Funky song, funky. Okay, never mind. I forgot to take the mic, so
Yeah.
here is the mic. Sorry about your ears. Hope I didn't do this, too loudly. So hi to A Gaming. He's already here in the chat. And
That was
guys,
fast.
and we're back
with such an intro.
Yeah.
Better than every
time. I don't know what is that. Maybe because Harley Quinn is such a funky animation.
Yes.
Yeah. So
and boy, what show it is.
what a show it is. Yes. So we're going to do a non-spoiler review of this because there are actually quite a bit of things that you can be spoiled with. Yeah. I mean, also in the other sense, because this show is nuts.
Yes.
This show is nuts, and actually, I was chatting with Clayton the other day, real quick, on Instagram, and I was like, "Look at what I'm watching for the review."
Did he watch it?
No, he haven't seen it yet. Okay. Yeah, the point is that I showed him that I watch, the show, and I'm like, "We're going to do a review with you." Today, which is today.
Here we go.
Which is now.
This is when the future becomes the present moment.
It's the future. Yeah. And so, I mean, I finished it since then, and we're ready to do this review together. So, what do you think about the show first as an animated series? I think that it's pretty interesting and pretty fun. And it's something that I've never seen before. I mean, I'm not used to R-rated animations in general, so to me this is like, whoa, this is nuts.
So you have never watched things like on Adult Swim, like this is after the Kids Cartoon Network finishes, then starts the Adult Swim, on which they have cartoons like that. Never? Oh boy.
What?
Yeah, you don't know. Adult Swim is, they produce cartoons exactly like that, adult oriented.
Yeah,
like, for example, you can check out maybe some of the people know Venture Brothers or Venture Bros, as it's called, which is kind of like Johnny Quest. You remember Johnny Quest?
Yeah, Johnny Quest.
Yeah.
That.
Oh yeah, well, imagine something like that, but like a spoof and with adult-oriented stuff.
Okay.
So yeah. They even had one with Mike Tyson, I think, or something like that. So
I don't know. I had enough of adult stuff in this movie. I felt that I'm not adult enough for this show. I honestly felt like I'm a bit uncomfortable at times. Like, what is happening? I mean, I know that this is animated, but I'm still very uncomfortable watching it.
Well, this is adult.
Yeah, so hi to Betty Georgieva. Hello, good evening to you. I haven't seen you in a while. I'm very happy that you're here.
Oh, but you do know her. Nice.
Yeah.
Hello.
One of the only girls in the chat. And in general, besides me. So, so you haven't laughed
so
like
this
that.
show is for you.
Yeah. She says that she haven't laughed like that in a while. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of times where I did laugh out loud at the show. Like literally, I'm watching it and somebody says something because the dialogue is so snappy. It's the snappiest dialogue I think I've ever seen. And just like this, you can miss so many lines, and they're pretty clever. They're very on spot, and they're delivered by the rest of the characters that are around Harley Quinn. Sometimes Harley Quinn herself, and Ivy. And by the way, Ivy is here a lot more than Harley herself because she's like the highlight of the show. I mean, Harley is pretty great. I think that her character is amazingly developed here.
Way better than in a movie that...
Way better
a name I don't want to pronounce anymore. Because I don't know what's the name, they change it always.
Yeah, and since this is adult show, they didn't really hold anything back in terms of the dialogue, even what they showed. Thankfully, they didn't show any sex scenes.
Yeah, doesn't need to.
Yeah, it doesn't need to.
But this is actually when you turn the R-rated into a good thing, not just to have. I thought this show was going to be only this when I heard of it, and so images that is going to be, you know, just this F-bombs every single time, but they do have them, but they're in context, so they work actually.
Yeah.
And, you know, blood and guts and things like that, but always in context. I mean, you take the I rating and use it into full potential, not just for the sake of the blood and all the other things.
Yeah.
Which, like they try to do with the other DC animated movies, which now they put some I rating, and inside you have stuff that actually doesn't fit, but here it fits to the show. I mean, it's a spoof, it's parody of those characters, because some of them are as they are in comic books, others are completely changed, but as a spoof, and you know, oh, if this guy actually was supposed to be funny, he's going to be like that.
Yeah.
Like Bane,
the
for example.
Shark as well. Bane is like
awesome.
Never understood aristocrats.
That's just who actually is not so, you know, in comic books he can do pretty much everything. He's like Batman, just bad. Here he seems completely useless, and everyone makes fun of him. And they even put it's a comic book version, but they put the voice from Dark Knight Rises, which finally someone to say officially in a DC property to say, yes, that voice was stupid.
Yeah. Because now you hear how it sounds when it's used all the time in everyday situations.
I even, when I watched some of the episodes at the same time, I happened to buy the second comic book with Batman TMNT. Mm-hmm. And I was with my son, and Bane is the main villain inside. Mm-hmm. And he knows Bane, and I said, you know, I can read you some of the lines with that voice, and I started reading the lines of Bane, which are serious lines, by the way, in the comic book with that voice, and my son was laughing and saying, is he really talking that? And I say, I can show you in a movie. And I show him from the movie Dark Knight Rises, not this cartoon, because, you know, kids.
Yeah.
And he was laughing also in the movie. He said, well, he really speaks like you, and you do the same voice. And I say, yes, I learned from that guy here.
Yeah. Christopher Nolan movies are a bit like some stuff are forgiven to them, but I think that they're not really that good. I mean, to me, they're just too realistic, and at the same time, it's ridiculous.
And not so realistic.
There's ridiculous aspect of them, and because when you try to put something that's kind of, you know, real, so to speak, and to put something like Bane in it with that voice, it's just like Christopher Nolan didn't know whether that is a comic book that he's trying to bring to the screen, or it's just something that he thinks that it's a comic book and how it should be translated to the screen. So it kind of, if you think about it, it's not really very well thought out, the whole thing.
I mean, that's why you can't put realistic things in everything. Hence the redesign of Sonic, for example. Which, thank God for that.
Yeah, the design is amazing.
Yes. But yeah, they actually here play that for a laugh with Bane. I mean, saying even smaller things like, I'm going to blow you up now.
Yeah, come to blow you up, Barry.
Yeah, I even got the documents.
That's amazing.
Right? So, I've practiced a lot for that. No, serious, I took the coin book and I read the serious lines, and even I was surprised to say, boy, it actually sounds good. You know? So DC, if actually the actor who voices it in the second season doesn't want to be, I'm up for it.
Yeah. Oh, and Betty says that the second season is coming in April. That's really amazingly soon. Like, wow.
Well, I think that they kind of pre-finished it already, all the episodes before that. They just put them in one by one. I expect them to be all at once because it's for the streaming channel, which I thought probably they're going to put them all out now, but that's not the practice apparently. It's not like Netflix. So,
yeah, it's not. It's like week based.
But it just shows that it's the show is that good.
Yeah. The show is really so good that nobody expected it.
This shows this story of emancipation way better than the movie, for example, or even some of the comic books that try to do that with Harley, because in comic books, to this day, DC were not exactly sure what to do with her. Ever since they decided, let's try to, break up with the Joker and develop it as a character, they couldn't exactly find a writer who to do that. They put her in Suicide Squad in the New 52. They put her here, there. They give her some soul stories. Some of them were good, but they couldn't find that direction.
Yeah.
What to do with her if it's not connected with the Joker?
Yeah.
And here they actually find out. I mean, it was all about breaking up with the Joker, finally realizing, but she was still doing stuff because of him. Like, I want to do this to show him something. It was again about him, which happens in real life when you have a toxic relationship like that.
Yeah, and they really explore that, and they address that directly, and they resolve it. Like literally, they resolve it. So it's amazing amazing arc and journey of Harley Quinn, and how she actually really, separate herself and her life's meaning and direction from the Joker, and how she became her own self. And this is again done amazingly well here, and not that well in the movie.
Yeah. Movie couldn't catch that quite.
Sorry, there's not enough time. Here we have, to support Harley, we have Poison Ivy, which on her own is such an amazing character. She could have her own show.
Yeah, I mean, you can literally take this Ivy and make a different show with her.
Yeah, this is the best Ivy ever.
Yeah, even better, by the way, than in Batman the Animated Series. But it's actually, yes, I mean, she's way more developed, and you can see that connection between the two of them, which is actually true friendship connection, not other stuff, whatever some people can imagine.
Yeah, it's true friendship between two girls.
I mean, you can say to this person, they're two girls, and they can look at each other and to say, I love you as a person. Because actually, this is what love is, not just, romantical stuff and hormones and other things. It's actually love.
Yeah, that is one of the best expressions of love, actually, between two friends. And a lot of the things that they went through in the show, also, personally, I went through with other of my girlfriends. I had the same thing. I mean, if some of my girlfriends are doing something because of a guy, and then she's trying to get back, with them. With that or those guys, if I'm talking about a lot of girls,
jump into a relationship with another just because this now is over, and
Yeah, and she ignores me or our relationship because of that. She immediately, I mean, she gets disappointed by this relationship. I tell her exactly what's gonna happen. I mean, it's obvious that this guy is not respecting you or whatever the case may be, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know. If you're right, then of course I'm right." It's happening exactly what I said it's gonna happen. She's disappointed, she's crying, she's upset. She's like, "Oh, Gary, yeah, so you're right." And she's at the objective side now of those things, and she sees things, right? But as soon as he starts to do something that tries to get her back, she's like, "Ah," and then again he's doing the same thing and
because
disappoints
also
her.
The other person also looks for some things, and they usually know, there it's going to happen probably easy, so I can try again.
Yeah, but I mean that then I'm the one that is left to hang because I gave all my attention to her. I did all the best that I could to help her out. And in the end, she still doesn't listen to me, although she did see herself what's the deal, so to speak. And then she still made a mistake. She still left me, because of the guy. And then our relationship is jeopardized, so to speak, because of her. And I'm like, okay, I gave you all my attention, and you're like doing this, like what the heck. So it's the same thing what happens in this show as well between Harley and Poison Ivy. Yeah. And so I really find that interesting that such a genuine female relationship is explored here, and something that's really gonna happen in real life. And
or even a male relationship, by the way. Could happen the same way. I mean, men also do things like that. So, yeah, and again, sometimes
nature,
you have,
I guess.
I mean, exactly. No matter the gender, it's actually real life. So you can say to friends like that when they have that plan, you can tell them there is a show that you can watch.
Yeah.
And this show can help actually for things like that, because it's good to have also some other way to view yourself from distance, to see what actually you're doing. That show can actually give you this, no matter that is again a funny show, but it can give you that real life thing there.
Yeah, and that is what is relatable, because the show is so nuts and it's cartoon, and it's crazy. There's a scene where it's not really a spoiler, but there's a scene where they just bring Tutankhamun's mummy with the sarcophagus, and Harley breaks it in a rage temper tantrum or something, and then his mummy is just like sitting there with one arm out of the rubble of the sarcophagus and one leg, and just looks so absurd and ridiculous. It's like thousands of years like ancient, one of the most famous ever pharaohs, and sarcophagus is and the only thing that is discovered intact, and all of those things. And you see his legs, like one leg is up, one arm is up, he's completely destroyed, his sarcophagus is destroyed. I'm like, and because I'm very into Egypt culture, especially Tutankhamun, I spent years basically research about him and what happened, and that was very big fascination of mine, when I was growing up. So to see that, I was like, wow, if this is real life, I'm gonna kill her. This is so
right. I
ridiculous.
mean, again, relatable. So
This is so absurd. I can't believe they did that.
this is actually when you decide to take a property that you love and you make fun of it, but in a good way, because we should not forget to make fun of the things that we love and not take them so seriously. It's like, for example, I'm sure that there's probably one or two people who watched the show and said, as a fan, I felt offended to what you did to Bane. Why, if you're a fan, you should laugh at that? I mean, they show you that you should not take yourself so serious. I mean, your life is not Bane or things like that, or even, I love comic books, but it's not only who you are and things like that, and you have to remember you can laugh at that sometimes.
Yeah, because they took Bane and they did the obvious thing that everybody else were missing, that if you take that voice combined with that character, and if you really bring that character to life how he's supposed to look like, nobody's gonna take him seriously. And it's also very fun how he was so, like, you can say not aggressive, like passive aggressive maybe. He was so
most of the time
just staying there and staying in one place and just talking to somebody with this voice and all of those sophisticated lines. And the same thing with the clay guy. He's like
Clayface.
Yeah, he's recycling all the time. So many.
He's actually one of the versions, because there are around 3 Clayfaces in comic books.
He's Shakespeare all the time.
One of them, actually, the first one, what was his name? Boris Karloff, named after the famous actor Boris Karloff. However, was an actor who actually got he wasn't exactly like this creature. He had a mask that he could change into every other person, but he wanted to do that because he was an actor, so he got the powers. In the second one was Matt Hagen, who was something like a Tomb Raider, not only in Egypt. In Batman the Animated Series, they mixed the two characters. They made Clayface their Matt Hagen, but he was an actor, if you remember the episodes with that, because he had something like on his face, like disfigurement, so he used a special cream to make his face look better, but then they poured the cream on him and he turned into this creature. Comic books is not like that, but they mix and match the two characters, and here it's kind of the same. I mean, this is the actor, maybe Matt Hagen, maybe not. And it's kind of logical if he's actor, not so successful actor, and he has those powers to do that, actually, to try to always do those lines, and you give him a simple task like just be the postman or something, and he starts saying, oh, this is the postman, I'm going to do this and this, and what's my character's motivation, and you just laugh at that, because you say, yeah, he would do that, actually.
Yeah. And once he was Batman. It's not really a spoiler, but he's like trying not to do something when he's Batman, and I'm seeing him like smile, but he looks like Batman, so Batman is like,
he just can't help him.
I can't help
Poor
it.
guy.
And then just goes and does something and tries to la, and I'm like, no,
What
you're
if
supposed to be
Batman would do that,
Batman.
right? By the way, speaking about Batman is the only insane guy in that universe here, and
Commissioner Gordon is hilarious.
and his Batman is voiced here by Dietrich Bader, who voiced Batman in the Brave and the Bold cartoon on Cartoon Network.
He's good.
which is a cartoon made mostly for kids, like in the Batman from the 60s, but not exactly.
So
And it's actually great. And even there, he looks like the most sane guy. And here you have that Batman. Yeah, you say, he's kind of the most sane guy. Batman, the most sane guy of all these people here. And it kind of fits. I mean, to hear that voice and say, yeah, okay. Fun fact: he did better voiced Lex Luthor in Superman Red Sun.
Really? Oh,
Great.
so
And the
good.
guy who voices the Joker here is also the voice of Clayface. Kind of seamless, yeah, right?
He's also Clayface?
Yeah.
And the Joker.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good actor.
Right. That's a great voice actor. The one that you can't even say if you don't see the end credits, that you can't even tell.
Wow, that's
Was
amazing.
the same guy. Yeah.
That is amazing, yeah.
So some of the others also, I think they're one person who is also sort of the characters, but
But it's also
just
kind of
cool people.
hilarious how Batman, when he's on screen, he's also so passive to everything.
Yeah.
So he's just appearing, and even Commissioner Gordon was so disappointed by him. He's like, "We are friends,"
Yeah, that was a cool episode.
and Batman's
right?
like, "Co-workers."
Yeah, I mean, I know him. He's a friend from work.
Yeah.
and he was kind of like the that's the same voice of Harley in some moments, that he actually had to save her or just to stop her and things like that, and he felt like that moment that had to tell her, look again what you're doing, because of it felt kind of as if he actually cares, not just oh Queen, you again are doing this and I have to stop you, but I felt as if he knows that you can stop and do other things.
Yeah.
Still bad things.
But there's so many stuff
other
going
things.
on, and Batman was nowhere to be found. So he's just appearing from time to time to be.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need him so much. It's not a Batman show.
Yeah, just sit there.
And also, congratulations for Kite Man.
Kite Man.
This is the show that made Kite Man interesting.
He is a character in the comic books.
Sure, yes. Just
what is
he's Kite Man.
I mean, what is he?
It's
his
a
thing?
funky villain from the 60s. I mean, what you see here, it's a Kite Man, a man with a kite.
Really?
Now, he had a gang with other people with kites, but there are two properties that made him interesting. One is a comic book from several years ago in DC Rebirth called The War of Jokes and Riddles. It's a story in which there is a war between the Riddler and the Joker. Kite Man is there, he's having a prominent role, and he's kind of interesting and badass there. And here.
Badass Kite Man.
Yeah, if you know what to do with the character, just like here. I mean, the moment that they set him up with a certain character, I was kind of like, cool.
I was like, what?
I'm happy for him. Cool, kind of.
Well, I'm happy for him, but I'm like, how this happened?
Well, they explained things, so
I mean, I didn't think that is in her character to be with him, actually.
She explained why. I mean, things like that can happen.
She just said things can happen.
And he was,
I think.
kind of. I mean, he was a gay person.
I mean, he's ridiculous, though. I mean,
well, but with the name Kite Man, yes.
He's literally a cartoon from Scooby-Doo.
Well, he kind of more reminds me of Arthur, the sidekick of the Tick, who can also fly.
Yeah.
But Kite Man was created first. But here again, they made him kind of cool and caring in some moments. You could definitely see that all the characters that they put, really, they just turn them around from the comic books. Like also Dr. Psycho, who is not much known character as a villain. He does that what he does also. He'll accept of saying bad things to women all the time and having certain, let's say, taste for big women. Really big women. I mean, he was married to Giganta.
That was.
He's a small guy.
Like,
how does that work?
That work? Yeah, not good.
Not good, apparently. So,
yeah, I don't want to imagine that. But let's see the comments. So Betty says, "Is there a character that stole the scene for you whenever they were on the screen? For me, it was Frank the Plant. The voice actor was fantastic. Yeah, he was funny. He was more in the beginning of the series, I mean of the season. Then he was not that much. Then he was at the last
He was
episode.
at the beginning, the end.
Yeah, so I saw him, but more impression on me made Shark
King
and
Shark.
Clayface. Yeah, King Shark, because he was like so sensitive, and from time to time he just will bit
Let
somebody
his
heads off,
nature,
you know.
yeah.
And then the grandpa surprised me so much.
Cyborgman.
He was trans
Transforming?
transformer,
Kind of like that,
transformer.
yeah. Like that.
Something like that, not transformer, trans something else. It was so funny. I was like, yeah, that's new gender.
Yeah.
Right
Actually,
there.
he's again small known character who appeared in a Harley solo comic book way back in the days, but people forgot about him. That's another good thing that the show. Even I forgot him, and I say, who was that? And I had to research to remember. I say, oh, that guy is Sark Borgman. His name is literally Sark Borgman. So, and it was cool to see there. I mean, Doctor Psycho. A lot of people forgot him. King Shark, who here at first when I read that he's going to be something like kind of calmer, nerdy IT specialist. I was
Yeah.
wait, King Shark.
And he even says something about his weight. Where were you when I was 150,
Yeah.
70? No, not 100, like under 60 something pounds.
But they
600
work,
pounds.
and you see this team that she creates here is actually working better than Birds of Prey in the movie team, because you put spotlight on Harley and most of the time also Ivy, but the other characters also have moments that they work. So they could steal a scene for you every time that Clayface is there, or even Bane, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, most of the times, really, when Ivy was on screen, I was like very, very inspired by her presence there. I mean, she's made so beautiful and so awesome every time that she speaks. Her mannerism, everything about her is like a real person to me. So I was like, wow,
Yeah. And they
I'm
do
a
say
fan.
that Ivy is more like a equal terrorist and things like that, not just a
Yeah, she's not really
straight
bad.
up villain. Yeah,
She's not.
actually,
She's not
not really
bad,
bad.
especially in the last episode. So this is not spoiler when where she wanted to do something good for the environment, and Harley's like, we're going to do some evil things, and I was like, well, if you call trying to help nature evil
Evil.
thing.
Yeah, I mean there was still some difference between evil and evil. Like for example, when the Queen of Fables was there, she
Wow, that's the
actually, which
worst.
is again character that a lot of people forget. She's a real character in comic books.
She's the
She
worst.
actually show what is true genuine villain who doesn't care, and actually the difference between really villain and just a bad person. Just a bad person.
Just a very like
You know,
truly evil
yeah.
person. Yeah.
I mean, Harry has done horrible things also, but even she has some
Some limits.
limits. Yes, and
Yeah.
it's great that they actually delve into her head literally in some episodes. No spoilers, but you get inside her psychic there.
Yeah, she's not killer for the sake of killing or to be bad or to inflict evil at all. She doesn't take pleasure out of any of that.
Yeah.
She's just trying to do some stuff just because that's how she's used to being around those circles of bad people, but she's not directly killing people or intentionally killing people. She just doing it because she's in a certain situation where she's like attacked or something like that, but she's not like going purposely killing people with that intent to just kill people. Again, unless it's something to do with the Joker or something else that's like a mission.
Yeah.
But even then, I mean, she's not like killing innocent people, like just killing them, like woof. Where the Queen of Fables, I never heard of her actually before this.
Right.
Yeah.
You see again a good thing that the show does now. You know a new character.
But I'm like absolutely disgusted by how evil she is. I mean, by her and the Joker. Both
Yeah, I
of
mean
them.
you would see why actually the Justice League would done something like that. What they did to her, which also seems cruel. But when you have a villain like that, sometimes you have to act like that.
Yeah.
By the way, some of the people from the Justice League, also Superman was here.
They're ridiculous.
He was
Yeah.
completely the Boy Scout that most people think he is, and in that show say, okay, so you think he's like that? Okay, here you go.
Here you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman is like a bit generic. She's like,
right? Yeah. What most people think when you tell them Amazonian and things like that, you know.
Yeah.
And also Aquaman appears, you know.
And
It was kind of this guy who was scared just about the fish and the sea creatures.
He talks with the fish and
and actually show a weakness that if you just hurt some of the sea things there, and he'll take care of them.
Yeah, he just gonna run and pick all the fishes like, oh Billy, come on,
I will
breathe.
save you, all of you.
How are you?
Also, the League of Doom was shown as this evil organization, but people know that there is this evil organization. They even have the commercials and the castings and things like that. Like, if you want to be part of us, huge building
in the
that
middle
is
of
there.
Gotham.
Yes, and people know.
Nobody touches the building. Like, Justice League, what, off limits? Like what? Like what?
Even people expected them to be good in doing evil things. And they even said we have a level to that, you know, that is, we have to be good in doing evil things, and people kind of expected that from them because, you know, like, we have a name to live up to.
Yeah, and Ivy was very pleased that they actually recycle.
Right, at least that.
Amazing. So I just want to read your comments real quick, and that's it. Yeah, so everything that Ivy says, you know, I agree. Yeah, only thing, guy. Hey William, I saw you there. Season 2, Killer Frost. Well, maybe.
If they put it.
Yeah.
Nice if it's actually better Killer Frost than what we have in the Flash.
Thank you, Kaitan.
Maybe not.
Thank you very much. I'm really flattered about that. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
We are
just
both
have fun with it, man. I mean,
yeah, a few
awesome.
thumbs up. So time to give our rating here. I think that as an animated show that is R-rated, is definitely like at least a 9.
Yeah, well, 9 definitely. I mean, I expected something like a Family Guy with with DC characters, but this is a lot more. I mean, it's even better. I hope that in second season they keep up to that level or even higher.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, some of you say they could put 2 different characters now. I mean, everything is possible.
Yeah, and it's very good writing.
Totally.
In a crazy way, it makes sense. In a crazy way, because again, especially the last 2 episodes are so ludicrous.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what am I even watching?
I mean, it's this emotional roller coaster in some episodes that are, you know, just ridiculous and ludicrous stuff, and then in some of the last things, you're kind of and you feel emotions from this show.
Yeah.
From this show.
Yeah, because they actually took the time to build, you know, Harley, Ivy, and even Shark and Clayface, and that.
Yeah, even Cyborgman. I mean, they show some part of his origin. I think there is an episode for that, and you see, oh, okay, your character.
Yeah.
Nice. And you can do it in a simple way. You don't need anything more than that.
Yeah, and there's that thing where even if they show a character less than other characters, you still have perfectly good idea of who they are.
Yeah.
It's such a good character representation. Even like you said for Superman or even Wonder Woman, she was like on screen for what, a minute? But you get the idea that she's like very on top and generic. If I was like a common person, let's say in that universe, I would be like, wow, Justice League is this untouchable force that you only see when there's a really big crisis happening, and they're so out of reach and they're so godly like. I mean, the way that they presented them, you really have that impression immediately, especially from the view of Ivy and Harley, because they're like fighting in the city and they're trying to, you know, make a life for themselves, let's say, in a much smaller scale than that's possible, and all of a sudden comes Justice League and you're like, wow, you know, they're so big.
Yeah,
I mean,
we can't compete with that.
Yeah, they're such a huge figures, and we're like, what are we even doing here, you know? But then here comes Ivy with her awesome powers and her brain, I mean, with her mind, and she does something really cool with Wonder Woman, let's say.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah, makes sense.
Poison Ivy
makes sense.
Pretty badass. Not only in that show, actually. Sometimes
Yeah.
they forget to show that.
It's
Well,
such a genuine character, and her, and once again with Harley, what they did with Harley, Harley was never as developed as she is here, and
Yeah.
she's on the top of her game. And they really made Harley Quinn a very unique character with very cool story and very a lot of wisdom. I mean, you can take from her
Yeah, yeah.
journey and how she was able to get away from the Joker
Yeah.
and all of the things that you can take from such a relationship and how you can learn from that, grow from that, and not be defined by that.
Yeah.
So amazing.
Yeah, much better than other properties, as we said. Really, really great show. It's great when a show can surprise you like that. So you
In so
don't
many
expect it, and in
ways.
so many
So
ways.
many ways. Like John Campea even said, this show is a lot better than it has any right to be.
Yeah, by the way, because I
Hey,
think nobody expected that.
yeah,
By the way,
because nobody
so yeah,
expected that. Yeah, but it's awesome. So guys, 9 out of 10 definitely.
definitely.
We just give it a 9 because we haven't seen anything to compare it with. Anything on
But
that level is
I
the
mean,
first.
we have to compare it with the movie.
With the movie, it's another
Yeah.
world, so to
Yes.
speak. But amazing writing, and I'm actually even very surprised how so many good lines can be packed into like a second. Every episode for me felt like it's 40 minutes, but it's
Yeah.
22 minutes.
And there were actually no things that are pushed in your face, which happens to happen a lot now in some properties. But here, no, actually, everything was really great.
Yeah.
They show you that real thing that can happen. They show you how easy it is to sleep again and to go back to a person who just uses you in real life things from a
Yeah,
comic book character. So that's the way to go with Harry, actually. You need
definitely.
to turn things around.
And it's
into-
really brutal and it's no censorship on anything. Blood, gore. Again, thankfully there's no sex in it because it's gonna be
Yeah,
ridiculous,
it's going to be
kinda
too much, yes.
too much. Yeah, it's not gonna be very compatible with the style of animation as well, I don't think. Blood and gore, yeah, F-bombs, yeah, but not the
Yeah.
other thing. Like, and they probably knew that, so they were like, "Oh,
Mhm.
why would we do that? It's ridiculous."
Yeah.
So that's it, guys. 9 out of 10. Thank you very much for watching. When you see it, please let us know what you think in the comments. Clayton, you, of course, Ivy, Betty. Betty already said that she loves it.
But you can say again.
Yeah. With everything, guys, let us know. Comment down below. And until next time, with me, Gary G Reviews, and Kirill or Logan K.
Whatever you choose.
Yeah. Mwah.